Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve,
And I'm Scott.
and together we're Backyard Musings, broadcasting live from the Double Wide in Apple Valley, California.
Haven't heard that for a while. And we are the Science and Technology Channel. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Against all odds, NASA engineers brought back to life a set of Voyager 1's thrusters thought to be dead since 2004.
This is amazing.
Voyager 1 was from the 70s, yeah.
Yeah, 77. They were both Voyager 1, Voyager 2.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah, and these things have been dead for a long time. And what's even more amazing to me is that they can communicate with this thing.
Yeah, they're still getting telemetry.
It's like, well, you're about to say it, but it's way, way out there.
Yeah, interstellar.
Yeah.
With the spacecraft now in deep interstellar space, the fix was driven by growing concerns that its currently used thrusters might soon fail, racing against time before a long communications blackout. The team made a daring and intricate attempt to restore the dormant system. Their creative theory paid off, turning a nearly forgotten system into a mission-saving backup just in time. Would you like to know more? And if your answer is yes, subscribe.
Yeah, this is like you go to school with somebody and then you're best buddies, and then 20 years later they look you up, say, hey, just thought I'd reach out,
and then you get in touch.
Yeah, it's just remarkable, which is in this next paragraph here. In a remarkable engineering feat, NASA scientists at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Southern California have reactivated a set of thrusters on the Voyager 1 spacecraft that hadn't worked since 2004. These thrusters had been considered out of commission for 2 decades. Just amazing. Restoring them wasn't easy. It took a mix of clever thinking and some risk, but the team wanted a reliable backup. That's because the main thrusters currently in use are showing signs of clogging from residue, which could stop them from working as soon as this fall.
We're going to explain why these thrusters are so important. Out. The timing was critical. NASA needed to revive these backup thrusters before May 4th, when the powerful Earth-based antenna responsible for sending commands to Voyager 1 and its twin Voyager 2 will go offline for several months of scheduled upgrades.
Launched back in 1977, both Voyagers are now flying through interstellar space at the speeds of around 35,000 miles per hour, which is extraordinary. To stay in touch with Earth, they use small thrusters to adjust their orientation, keeping their antennas aimed precisely at our planet so they can send and receive signals.
So they're going away, and they got to turn around to transmit a signal, and then they turn back to the direction they're going.
Yeah, so these are, I was thinking about this, these are like the beta drones, right? Unmanned.
Yeah.
And they are flying 35,000 miles an hour. Are you kidding me? And they're able to adjust this thing.
Nothing has hit them yet.
With this thing.
No asteroid or debris has
that's
hit them
fascinating that they haven't collided with something, or they're still being able to communicate. I mean, it's just crazy.
I'll tell you, when we get a Starfleet and a Federation of Planets, one of our 300 years in the future, they're going to come upon this. They're going to go, wow, our ancestors did this.
Yeah, or another planet. Like we see satellites, communication satellites and stuff flying around.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is watching these things blow by their planet or blow by their...
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, who has launched that? And yeah, just crazy. But I remember when these things were launched. My dad was working for JPO when this all was going down. So crazy.
Each Voyager has a set of primary thrusters that control movements in multiple directions, along with separate thrusters for a specific type of movement called roll motion. From Earth's perspective, this roll looks like the antenna spinning like a vinyl record. That subtle motion keeps the spacecraft locked onto a guide star to stay properly aligned.
The spacecraft also carries backup thrusters for roll control. A third set, which was originally used during their planetary flybys, was brought back online in 2018 and 2019. However, those thrusters aren't capable of handling roll adjustments, which are crucial for maintaining contact with Earth.
To manage the clogging tubes in the thrusters, engineers switched between the sets of primary, backup, and trajectory thrusters of both Voyagers. But on Voyager 1, the primary roll thrusters stopped working in 2004 after losing power in 2 small internal heaters. Engineers determined the broken heaters were likely unfixable and opted to rely solely on Voyager 1's backup roll thrusters to orient the star tracker.
So how are they fixing these things? There's not a mobile mechanic that can roll out there and do this. This has all got to be done by computer, right?
Send a signal
and computer.
A week later, it gets the signal and it tries its thing, and then it sends telemetry. It's a very slow process, and they're like, "Oh,
Obviously,
that worked or that
20
didn't
years.
work. So let's try this."
Yeah, I mean, you'd lose. There's probably been guys that have either died that were working on this program, or have started and have retired, and they've just think, okay, well, it's done. It's on to you, passing it off to the next JPL nerd or whatever. I mean, this is amazing stuff. I think at that time, this is a quote, I think at that time the team was okay with accepting that the preliminary roll thrusters didn't work because they had a perfectly good backup, said Kareem Vadarudin, Voyager mission manager at JPL, which manages the mission for NASA. Continue with the quote, and frankly, they probably didn't think the Voyagers were going to keep going for another 20 years. Yeah, that's probably throwaways, right?
Yeah, but without the ability to control a spacecraft's roll motion, a variety of issues would arise that might threaten the mission, so the engineering team decided to re-examine the 2004 thruster failure. They began to suspect that an unexpected change or disturbance in the circuits that control the heater's power supply had effectively flipped the switch to the wrong position. If they could turn the switch back to its original position, the heaters might work again, enabling them to reactivate the primary roll thrusters and use them if the backup roll thrusters that have been used since 2004 became completely clogged.
I don't know what they're being clogged with. Just
space debris, dust.
Yeah. The solution required some puzzle solving. The team would have to turn on the dormant roll thrusters, then try fixing and restarting the heaters. If during that time the spacecraft's star tracker drifted too far from the guide star, the long dormant roll thrusters would automatically fire thanks to the spacecraft's programming. And if the heaters were still off when they fired, it could trigger a small explosion, so the team needed to get the star tracker pointed as precisely as possible.
So it goes to this star, right? Eventually, maybe 1,000 years from now, 10,000, it gets to the star, gets the turnaround that whatever it is, the trajectory turnaround starts heading back for Earth. Another 10,000 years, it'll be back here. Right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty cool if they could get these things to come back, but how far out is that thing? And what I want to know is how is it going? How is it being propelled? And I mean, is it just?
No, I mean, when it's in motion, it's going to stay in motion. It's in a vacuum. Nothing's reacting on it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. What was that? Warp drive? Is that no? That was Star Trek. What was the thing in Star Wars they called it? Hyperspeed?
Yeah, hyperspace.
Hyperspeed or whatever that was. That blast off when they'd be just cruising along, and then all of a sudden they just take off. 35,000 miles an hour. That's amazing.
It's fast. It would be a race, and the team faced additional time pressure from May 4th, 2025 through February 2026. Deep Space Station 43. Oh, DS-43. That's like Star Trek, Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
A 230-foot wide antenna in Canberra, Australia, that's part of NASA's Deep Space Network, will be undergoing upgrades. It will be offline for most of that time, with brief periods of operation in August and December.
Although the Deep Space Network has 3 complexes equally spaced around the globe in Goldstone, California, which is the one that my dad worked at out here by Fort Irwin, and Madrid, Spain, in addition to Australia, to ensure constant contact with spacecraft as Earth rotates. DSS-43 is the only dish with enough signal power to send commands to the Voyagers. I know the one at Goldstone, they had a 210 foot dish.
That's big.
That is big, yeah.
Okay, here's a quote. These antenna upgrades are important for future crewed lunar landings, and they also increase communications capacity for our science missions in deep space, some of which are building on the discoveries Voyager made, said Suzanne Dodd, Voyager project manager and director of the Interplanetary Network at JPL, which manages the Deep Space Network for NASA.
Huh?
Let me throw this in. Why don't they just get a satellite that's a dish that's in stationary orbit that can communicate with the Voyager and just beam it down
Let
to
it
where
follow.
it needs? Yeah, just
Follow it.
stay right there, and then the Earth's rotating, and then we just pick up the data,
Yeah, like
whenever we
a
need to pick it up.
like a space station
Yeah,
that's just following this thing.
yeah, it'd probably be stationary. It would be stationary, and the
Right.
Earth rotates.
But yeah, maybe better, clearer pictures. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
They're obviously able to still communicate. So what do we know, right?
I hope they take my idea. You heard it here on Backyard Musings, right?
Yeah, science and technology. Right.
To continue the quote, we've been through downtime like this before, so we're just preparing as much as we can. The team wanted to make sure the long dormant thrusters will be available when the dish is back online briefly in August, by which time the thrusters currently in use on Voyager 1 might be completely clogged.
The advanced work paid off. On March 20th, the team watched as the spacecraft executed their commands. Because of Voyager's distance, the radio signals takes over 23 hours to travel from the spacecraft to Earth.
Still, at least it's not a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is crazy
Yeah.
fast. Meaning everything the team saw happened had occurred almost a day earlier, kind of like what I watch on TV because I don't have cable. If the test had failed, Voyager might already have been in danger. But within 20 minutes, the team saw the temperature of the thruster heaters rise dramatically and knew they had succeeded. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Quote,
big day.
it was such a glorious moment, a daring attempt that they made. Team morale was very high that day, said Todd Barber, the mission's propulsion lead at JPL. These thrusters were considered dead, and that was a legitimate conclusion. It's just that one of our engineers had this insight that maybe there was this other possible cause and it was fixable. It was yet another miracle saved for Voyager. Nice, man.
Yeah.
Still communicating.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, what those things cost back in the 70s to make, how much do you think they would cost now if they had to send up another one? Which I'm sure they will be. I mean, we've
10,
talked about
20
other
times.
ones. Yeah,
What did they cost back then?
right.
But it would probably be the size of an iPhone. All the electronics.
Yeah, it could be. Or they could communicate it with their iPhone. So, yeah, this is cool stuff. Great
All
story.
right. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you in the morning.
Take care, everyone.